and welcome back. As you can see, I'm here in the grow room. I'm here before I turn on the lights. I figured I would make this video here in this environment today. Choosing sides. Liberal, conservative. Yes, no. Right, wrong. And from whichever side you come from, your right is the other's wrong, and vice versa. It's as though people believe there's a battle for good and evil going on in the world right now. And when you look closely, when you observe the situation, not from one side or the other, but simply as you are, right here, right now, you're going to see things that either side is blind to. You see, when you choose a side, you give up the ability to see the full picture. You become biased and identify with the group that shares your belief systems. And that's what it comes down to. You say, you believe this, you are my friend. You also say, you don't believe this, and you are not my friend. When you make a choice, you further divide reality. You see, every single human, animal, all the planets in our solar system, even and every single element within them was created in a star. We all know this. The star that was here before our sun. So it exploded. And out of that one body came us and everything we see. Every thought we've ever had, every apple, every animal we've ever eaten, pet, every water, lake, river we've ever swam in, literally came from the exact same source that we did. If you want to talk about your brother and your family, you hear talk about family is everything. Well, have we forgotten our cosmic family? That we were all one, we are all related, and we all come from the same source. We're all made of the same stuff. So where I'm going with this is, when we spend our time dividing each other and ourselves and further separating each other based on our beliefs, we're basically fighting with ourselves. We're causing our own demise. And there are some who understand that when a human being believes something very strongly, they will become polarized. They will unconsciously lose themselves in a reaction against their perceived enemy. And everybody acts this way. So when you create an enemy in your mind by saying you are right and you are wrong, by implication, those who you say are wrong or feel are wrong become your enemy. You are actually creating an enemy by separating human beings into groups of those you agree with and agree with you, and those you don't agree with and don't agree with you. You are saying, these are my friends and these are my enemies. You made that decision. What we fail to see is that each time we do this process, we make that decision. We make that decision. We create the evil based on our beliefs. And it all comes from our fear. We are afraid. We forget that what we think is so important here on the planet is actually not in the grand scheme of things. We forget that this planet will eventually fade into nothing once again, and so will our star. We all will, in a very, very short time span, cosmologically speaking. Every single concern and worry here, right now, will be gone, never to be resurrected once again. The people, animals, all of it gone. This is inevitable. This is going to happen. People get too afraid about their own demise and the ideas of what's right and what's wrong. And by taking these things so seriously, you lose yourself in your beliefs. Now, let's say you don't choose a side. Let's say you don't choose a side. And in not choosing a side, it's also a choosing, a sort of choosing. You're choosing to not participate on whatever level you can in the madness. You are choosing on whatever level you can to not participate in the collective madness. The collective madness is that these things are being taken too seriously. I'm not saying it's not a serious issue when someone in front of you that you love is dying. But when you are gone as well, or maybe even 50 years after that person died, it might not seem like such a big deal. In the moment it will be. But once it's gone and past, the earth is still going to spin. Night and day cycle will continue. The sun will rise. Summer will come back. The world continues. Life itself continues. That's the point. Even though there's not really a point to what I'm saying, really. Choosing a side, you create your enemies. And in creating your enemies, you further separate the human race. And divided, we can be easily conquered. It's simple. My whole philosophy is not about dividing or creating any kind of enemy. but instead to find the sameness in everyone. When you are faced with your own decision to create an enemy, when you are faced with that decision to look within yourself and to turn in and to turn in. The focus is always inward, because when you're not watchful of your inner state, that's when you can lose yourself and make decisions you can regret later on. Decisions that may seem like the right thing to do. Your fiery anger, your agreement with what is being said, what you hear, what you see, might pull you into an unconscious state of identification with that story. But who are you? Nobody ever asks if it's really that important to burden yourself with such a story inside your mind all the time, and to solidify your belief in that story to the point where you hurt some people and create some form of discomfort, disease, some form of stress inside of you. You see, the minute you take a side, you become ill. You are not at ease anymore. You have an enemy. And you can't relax and be at ease within yourself when you have enemies, when there are those around you who you need to set up a defensive wall and create a personality of attack and defense in order to defend yourself and those on your side against your enemies. Don't you see the war that people say is happening for the consciousness of human beings is not happening out there? There is no war per se, but you hear of people saying this war. You hear of the talk of war on consciousness. These are all clever lines that are meant to trigger you into a state of defensiveness, to put up your guard, to look at the world and find enemies. It's to create a perception within you where you look at the world to find enemies. And I can promise you, whatever you look for, you will find it. Your mind is very good at creating what you want to see. Say hi. Say hi, Leah. So choosing sides, just let it go. Let it all go. Whatever you think is wrong in the world or right in the world, just let it go. Because the real prize, the real treasure is not out there in the world, but deep within yourself. If there is a small possibility that after this life, you continue into the afterlife, there are those who believe that this life is a preparation for the next. Ultimately, we'll all see in our own time. Try not to lose yourself too deeply into the concerns of the world. Wherever you are around the world, whatever time it is that you're watching this video, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. For this last part, I'm just going to sit here. You can join me if you like. A quick minute of meditation. very much for joining me. Peace.